OK, right. Now, a 53-year-old man accused of ploughing a vehicle into crowds of Liverpool fans during a victory parade was allegedly high on drugs at the time.
All the more extraordinary that the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan,
I was going to gloss over that. Timing!
Various front pages has decided this is the right time for people to be able to have limited use of cannabis. What is limited, Mr. Mayor?
Well, yes.
To build links with the ethnic communities. Well, why do we need to build? What's this about?
The timing, Andrew, is immaculate. At the same time as we have this news about Liverpool, and
extraordinary.
And by the way, people out there, drug driving has increased by 70% over the last 10 years. 70%.
Exactly. And we all know about drink and driving.
Yep.
If you have one drink, that's too many. Probably. How many joints can you have? How many cigarettes that are made of cannabis can you smoke? I don't know. What is the law?
Well, this is the question. I mean,
so this reckless mayor is opening the door to this.
Yes.
Astonishing timing.
It's like this is for the community because, I mean, Sadiq Khan has said he thinks that the cannabis laws as they stand at the moment unfairly discriminate against the black community.
Right.
OK, can we just look after the London community as a whole, please?
Which is everybody.
Exactly.
Of all colours, persuasions, and
that's the
religions,
problem.
and ethnicities.
Yeah.
It's reckless. And to be fair to Starmer and the Labour government, this is not a policy they endorse. No,
they have said it's not going to happen. But police, what it means basically is police would no longer be able to deploy stop and search solely on suspicion of cannabis possession.
He is the Police and Crime Commissioner for our capital city.
Yes.
It's terrifying.
It is frightening. Under current laws, cannabis is a Class B drug and those found in possession can face a fine or jail, but most police forces around the country, if you've got a tiny bit of... they just basically ignore it in any case.
It seems to me like he's effectively saying, go on and do it, encouraging it.
I think it kind of is.
That's what it feels like.
Because it's going to stop police being able to stop and search people on suspicion, but we don't know how much they've got on them, whether they're actually drug dealers or, hey, I don't know. It's just... The timing.
Now, talking about Liverpool, again, it's believed that the person driving that car followed an ambulance, tailgated an ambulance through a police barrier and officers until lunchtime to question the suspect. Joining us now is GB News North West reporter Sophie Reaper. Sophie, what more can you tell us? Good morning.
Good morning to you both, Andrew and Dawn. Well, this morning we're on Water Street, which has now reopened. Of course, 48 hours ago, this would have been a scene of excitement, of build-up, of atmosphere, as hundreds of thousands of Liverpool fans began to descend upon the city centre for that victory parade. And of course, we saw those pictures, we saw those videos of that celebration, that absolute joy. Of course, that was then contrasted as just after 6 o'clock, the videos that went online of that vehicle ploughing into crowds of people. Now, of course, as you rightly say, a 53-year-old is being questioned under suspicion of attempted murder, drug driving and dangerous driving. And they've got until around midday today to continue that questioning. We also heard from Merseyside Police yesterday that 65 people were treated for injuries and that miraculously most of them are now out of hospital, that as we understand right now 11 of them remain in hospital but are in stable conditions, and as I say, that is being described as a miracle. We also know, as you rightly said then, Andrew, that police believe that the driver was able to gain access to the street by tailgating an ambulance which was trying to attend a gentleman who was believed to be suffering with a heart attack. But of course there are still questions not only about how this was able to take place, but why. That is the question on the lips of people here this morning. One gentleman walking past this morning simply turned to me and asked that exact question: why did this happen? And I think that is the question that people over the coming days and weeks will be asking here in Liverpool.
All right, Sophie, thanks for that. We've got our Home Security Editor, Mark White, in the studio. Mark, before we talk about Liverpool, can I ask you, you talk to the police a lot. What on earth do they make of Sadiq Khan's astonishingly badly timed intervention on drugs?
Well,
cannabis?
The vast majority of police officers that you speak to would not be in favour of this at all, because they see the day-to-day effects on the ground of what drugs and the drugs trade does to communities. And they know, you know, all this nonsense about, well, cannabis, it's quite harmless. It isn't, actually. There are stronger and stronger varieties of cannabis. Cannabis and turf wars over cannabis are responsible for a huge proportion of the violent crime that we see in big metropolitan areas, particularly London. You know, you can see where Sadiq Khan is coming from this. He's talking from a standpoint of tensions, particularly within the Black Caribbean community in London, because they often are the ones who are stopped for having cannabis on them. Well, police stopping people, yes, because they smell cannabis. It's often during those stop and search operations that they find more than just a small quantity of drugs, such as a knife or something like that. But the fact is, you know, the government or the authorities a few years back raised cannabis from being a Class C drug to a Class B because of the potentially damaging effects of cannabis. You know, people can start out with a few spliffs or whatever, but it can really lead to some serious mental health issues and other effects which are not at all desirable. No. But the biggest and most pressing issue about cannabis is it's a massive industry out there for the criminal gangs that are pushing it on the streets and fighting and killing each other at a rate of knots. And if you look at the likes of London, the vast majority of people, young people, who are being stabbed and killed are young black men. And the vast majority of the perpetrators are young black men, the same young black men who are being stopped for possession of cannabis.
Yeah. And the other issue putting the public at risk, what's Mark Rowley been up to today? Sir Mark Rowley?
Well, I think this is a significant intervention. We got that decision by Merseyside Police really just very soon after this event unfolded in Liverpool to say that this person was a white British male, so to give out the ethnicity. And you'll remember that it was because of the lack of such information regarding Axel Rudikabana and his murderous spree in Southport a year earlier that led to lots of rumours and anger building up online and in communities and led, of course, eventually to those riots as well. So I think Sir Mark Rowley is saying that, you know, he's got to be a realist in this world of social media where there are pictures and information that are swirling about, that you've got to be a bit more proactive with the kind of information you put out there. And he was specifically asked about, you know, whether going forward, even if clearly the person is not white British, if that kind of information should go out there, and his instincts are that yes, more information should go out there if it does lead in some quarters to people acting in you know, trying to capitalise on that for nefarious purposes, then they've got to be dealt with. But it's better to, you know, shine a light on this, get that information out so that the authorities are not accused of the kind of cover-up they've been accused of in the past.
Some people would say, would he expect, Rowley, the same response if it was a person of, it wasn't white British, if it had been perhaps a Muslim?
Yeah, so that's effectively what he was saying, that he instinctively is in favour of getting that information, more information out there. But the proof of the pudding, of course, will be when we have the next horrific incident. And it does involve someone who is not white British. Will we get that kind of information out there from the force concerned? Well, you know, a precedent has been set by Merseyside.
I believe this when I see it, to be honest with you, because I think if that person hadn't been a white British person, they would have kept that quiet. I'm sorry, that's just what I feel about it at the moment.
Well, I think you may well be right. But let's just see, having done that going forward, it might be difficult for them to argue against not doing it next time.
Talk the talk and walk the walk, please. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.